Welcome back to Digital class, and now we are looking at this PSLE last minute revision and set number F. So again, we are now have been practicing like A, B, C, D, E, F. This is number 6. So I believe by now you should have actually gotten some ideas about the difficulties of some of the other school prelim paper questions. So is it more difficult than mine, or mine is more difficult? Yeah, I mean, you have your decision and you have your thoughts. Okay, now let's discuss our first question here. The first question here comes from Nanyang paper 1, and here says, triangle DEF is a right angle triangle, and the length of its sides are h cm, h plus 7 cm, and h plus 8 cm. What is the area of the triangle DEF if h is equal to 5? Now, of course, you can choose to combine the algebraic expression, the variable, and form an algebraic expression. Then you put in the h value inside, or you can either just put in the h value first. But I think most of you will choose to put it first because that will be much easier. So I'll put here 5 cm because it's 5, right? And here will be 5 plus 7. That will be 12 cm. And do you need to put this? The answer is actually no. Why? Because calculating the area doesn't require the information here. So what's my next step? Half times 5 times 12. And the answer, if you simplify, that will be 30 cm. A very simple question, but I just need to kindly remind you that, teacher, this is the base, right? But I don't have the height. Now, you need to always understand that area of triangle is half times base times height. And the base and height always form a 90 degree. So in this case, this actually can consider as a base, this can consider as a height. So it's actually base and height. Okay, so I mean, the reason I'm choosing this for you is because I'm afraid that you kind of confused that, hey, I don't have the height here, so I cannot calculate. Okay, no. Okay, I think this is good. Let's move on to, oh, sorry, I forgot the square. Let's move on to our next question from ACSJ, paper 2, question number 5. Yeah, I like this question because a lot of my students don't know, a bit confused with percentage, especially with the discount or increase or decrease by, okay? Now, this Korean saved 20% of her monthly income. Okay, this is what she always does, right? 20%, 20%, 20%. However, in August, her income decreased by 15%. As a result, her saving in August was decreased by $120 compared to her saving in July. What was her income in July? Now, I think a lot of you probably will do this. Oh, decrease by 15%. Decrease by 120. So 15% equal to 120. Is this right? No. Because this is actually decreased by 15% is actually her income. Now, her income is always 100%, right? Okay, that's in July. And however, July 100%, and she saved 20%. This is basically the idea, correct? But in August, her income decreased by 15%. So it means that 100% minus 15%. So what is actually her income? It's actually 75%. Again, July 100%, August 85%. And however, she still saved what? 20%. Means that 20% of the 85%. Can I just say 20%? No, it's 20% of the 85%. So this 20% is not the exact 20%, it's 20% of the 85%. Huh? Then what is it? Do this. 85 times 20 divided by 100. Then you will find out how many percentage she actually saved in that 100% range. So just press on calculator. 85 times 20 divided by 100. And you notice it's actually 17%. Means that, let me just highlight, if it's normal 100%, she was able to save 20%. But in this case where it decreased by 15%, means that in August you only have 85%, she actually only saved 70% of the normal, compared to the normal amount of money that she have. Okay, and you can see a 20% decrease go down to 17%, and that decreased by how many percent? 20% minus 17%, I know it decreased by 3%. And that is the amount that decreased. This 3% decrease is actually the $120 decrease. So I know that now 3% is actually 120. Okay? Then her income in July is what? 100%. So 1% is equal to 40, and 100% is equal to $4,000. And we are done for this question. Okay, I hope you got the idea of it, but if you don't get this idea quite well, feel free to come back to me in classroom and ask me, or I will maybe try to help you a bit more, okay, when you need my help. Okay, I think this could be interesting, but it's not hard. So I actually give you another question about percentage also, because again, I feel that most of you need a bit more help on percentage. Let's look at this question. This from Brazil, paper 2, question 7. Mr. Raj paid $3,893 for 2 identical refrigerators using saving coupon as shown above. So with this saving coupon, what you are able to do is you are able to get the first fridge at 10% discount and the second one at 20% discount. That basically means what? Means that if 100% is the price you need to pay for one fridge, you will only need to pay how many percent? 90%. Because 10% discount, right? So you only need to pay 90%. And second one is that again 100%, and you need to pay only 80%. Wow, that's quite a lot. And you are actually pay using the same coupon. So it means that this is the amount you pay with this 90% and with the 80%. Now, how much more money did Mr. Raj have to pay for the 2 refrigerators if he did not use the saving coupon? So if he did not use the same coupon, means that he needs to pay how many percent? 200%. Then this amount is actually 90 plus 80%. So let's try to add. 90% plus 80% is actually 170%. And that means that 170% is actually equal to 3893. That's the amount that he paid. And 1% will be equal to 1. Just press on the calculator. 3893 divided by 170, and you should get 1% is 22.90. And how much more money? How much more money? Means that how many percent actually less compared to what you have? 200% minus 170% is really 30%. Means that he actually saved 30%, that he doesn't need to pay that amount. Right? Then what is that amount? 30% is equal to 2290 times 30, and that's equal to, just press on the calculator and you should get 687. Wow, he saved $687 with that coupon. That is really a lot. Okay, kind of simple, easy. And let's move on to our next question. Feel free to pause if you need more time to write this down, or you want to take some time to understand this question a bit better. Let's move on. Okay, the next question from resource paper 2, question 14, is actually a pattern question. Okay, it's very interesting to see a question like this, right? Okay, pattern question. So the first 4 rows of numbers are arranged in a certain pattern as shown below here. So row 1, 1, row 2, 2, 3, 4, row 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, row 4, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now, this is actually not that important in some cases, but let's look at this question. The table shows the first number and the last number in each row for the first 4 rows. So 1, 2, 5, 10, as you can see, 1, 2, 5, 10, 1, 4, 9, 16, 1, 4, 9, 16. So what will be row number 5? I mean, we can just do this first. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. And I know here is 17, and I know here is 25. I mean, this one shouldn't be a big problem. But of course, we can't do that always, right? So we must recognize what are the patterns that is involved here. And if you look carefully, and if you remember, if you're in my class, I always let you know, first look for arithmetic sequence, then next look for whether is it triangular number pattern, and third, you must look for perfect number. Do you see perfect number here? I mean, it's very obvious, right? Teacher, what is perfect number? Now, perfect number basically, just in case you forget, perfect number is a very important, I should say perfect square, or either call it a perfect number. Its idea is like this, like 1 times 1 equal to 1. 2 times 2 equal to 4. 3 times 3 equal to 9. 4 times 4 equal to 16. So all this number 1, 4, 9, 16 is the perfect square number. Okay, so do you see here? I mean, obviously, yes, right? Okay, so this is actually what? 1 square, 1 times 1. 2 square, 3 square, 4 square. And I know this is 5 square. So which means that if I want to look for the last number, it's very easy. I just need to do the square. 1 square, 1, 2 square, 4. But how do you actually find out the first number in the row? How do you find it? Let me give you a quick 10 seconds to think about it. If you look carefully, it's a bit hard to find the patterns 1, 2, 5, 10. How do you find? But just make good use of the last number in the row, right? You see, 1 plus 1, 4 plus 1 equal to 5, 9 plus 1 equal to 10, 16 plus 1 equal to 17. So you just need to find the square number of the previous row, then square it, then plus 1. That will be the first number in the row. Simple, right? So with that idea, let's try to solve our question B. Find the first number in row 10. Again, if I want to find the first number in row 10, I actually can find the last number in the previous row, then plus 1. So our previous row is what? 9. How to find the last number? 9 square. How to find the first number? Plus 1. So it's what? 9 square means 9 times 9, 81 plus 1, 82. That is the final answer. Okay, simple, clear. Let's look at our next question. Find the average of the number in row 10. Let me just go up first. Now, if I want to find the average, so how would I find the average? Actually, a very important idea here that you should have in mind is average is most of the times the middle number in this case also. Are you sure or not? Let's try to see. 1, of course, I can compare. So 2, 3, and 4. So 2 plus 3 plus 4 is what? 2 plus 3, 5. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9. How many numbers do I have? 3. 9 divided by 3, 3. Is it a middle number? Yes. The same if you go for the next one. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5 plus 9, 14. 6 plus 8, 14. So I have 28. 28 plus 7. 28 plus 7, 35. 35 divided by 5 number is 7. So you'll notice that the middle number is actually always the what? The average. So the middle is the average. So when the question asks for what is the average of the numbers in row 10, you can understand as the middle number. Correct. And how do you find the middle number? If you notice the way that I'm trying to do just now, let me just show you a bit. 4 plus 2 is what? 6. 6 divided by 3 number is what? Or 6 divided by 2 is what? 4 plus 2, 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So it's actually the middle number. 9 plus 5 is what? 14. 14 divided by 2 is what? 7. 16 plus 10 is equal to what? 26. 26 divided by 2 is what? 13. So which means that if I want to find the average or the middle number, I can make good use of looking the biggest number plus the smallest number and divide by 2. Okay? So now if I want to find the middle number in row 10, what is the smallest number? I know it's what? The first number, which is 82. What is the biggest number? The biggest number of 10 square, right? So it's 100. And I need to add them together, divide by 2. 182 divided by 2, the answer is 91. That's all. We are done for this question. Okay, not that very hard, but again, recognizing the pattern, it takes a while if you are not really familiar with some of the perfect square or all this idea. Again, recognize the pattern that's involved in. Okay, so we are done with this question, and let's move on to our next part of the question. So the next part of the question is from Nanhua paper 2, question 17, the last question. So here it says that in the figure below, ABCD is a parallelogram. AFC and DFB are straight line. So this is not connected. Well, okay, let me connect. So E is a point on CD such that DF equal to FE. So let me just put the sign there. DF is the same as FE. Now, when you put these two lines indicate, that makes it very clear that these two angles are supposed to be the same. Now, first question, find angle EFC. EFC is here. Okay, so let's look at this question. First, I know here is 110. If I want to find these two angles, very easy. I use 180 minus 110 divided by 2. And that gives me 35 degrees. So here's 35. Here is 35. Okay, now that is cool, simple. But if you look carefully now, I'm looking for EFC. Now, here, right, this angle. But if I do color this out, you see there's another triangle. If I know here is 35, I know here is 20, here, add together, it's supposed to be 180, right? So in order to look for here, I'll just use 180 minus 35 minus 20 minus 110. And that gives me the angle here is 15 degrees. Okay, simple. That's all. Now, let's look at our question number B. Question number B asks for angle CBD. Angle CBD, okay, which is this one. And because of the nature of the parallelogram, this is parallel, this is parallel. So I know that the angle here, CBD, is actually the same as the angle here, correct? And if the angle here is the same as the angle here, is very obvious that you can see, let me just use yellow color, that this from a triangle. Here is 50, here is 20, here is 35. Hey, I left it here. And I know if these all angles add together, it's supposed to be 180. So my last step, or the only step I need to do is 180 minus 50 minus 35 minus 20. So this one, this one, this one. Then I will able to look for this. And if you press on your calculator, you should get the answer as 75 degrees. That's all for our last question for the day. Simple, clear, easy. Yeah, I mean, this is actually 5 marks question, but yeah, we are done. So again, it's very important to remember all the properties of the triangles, the angles, how it works and everything, okay? Revise your booklet 5 about angles in geometrical figures if this is a hard question for you, okay? I think that's all for me today, and I hope you really learned something. Okay? Thank you. See you. Bye bye.